Hi guys, it's Izashi here, and I've promised this kick tutorial like 1 year ago, and I'm making this now. To apologize, I'm not gonna just show you how I make my kick, but I'm also gonna explain. Because when I say tutorial on YouTube, it's not really like a tutorial. It's more like a show off where people actually show the way that they make a kick. They're not telling how things work. They're just showing their way to do it. So it's really up to you to understand how they make it or what a effect does. So before we start, I want to say that this is not a finished kick. It's like I've spent like less than 2 hours working on this. Uh, the original kick is based on Xenon tutorial. He uploaded a video like, let's say, 2 weeks ago. So credits go to him. But as I didn't really like how the kick sounded and mine was pretty different than his, I've changed some stuff and adjusted to my taste. And this is the final result. Okay. The quality isn't very great because I'm not using the AC4 Davis, but because I'm recording. So, okay. What I want to do in this tutorial is also to show you how plugins work. And before we start doing anything, I want to talk about those plugins. When you're making a hardstyle kick, you basically need a distortion plugin and a equalization plugin. You can also have chorus or reverb or stereo tool or something like that. So I usually use a for distortion camel fat, which is a very great distortion plugin. Homicide, homicide or however it's called, and if I can find it, isotope trash 2. Okay, and for the equalizer you can use really every equalizer you want. I use the M equalizer, the parametric equalizer, which is the stock plugin for FL, and the FabFilter Pro Q. Okay, what I have on the master here is a waveform visualizator or however you call it, which just shows the waveform of the sound being played. Before we start everything off, we talk about how those plugins work. And to prevent myself saying some stupid things, I have some manuals over here about camel fat, the free the fast disk, which is not a real manual, isotope trash, and for the equalizators I have something different. Okay, we start with the equalizator, the M equalizer, Melda equalizer. Um, we have, wait, okay, for fuck's sake. We have, no, this one doesn't show everything, okay. Let me load a parametric equalizer. Okay. We have, once again, from 20 hertz to around 140 hertz, the very bass, the low end bass, and from 140 to 400 we have the low mid frequencies, and from 400 to 2.6k we have the actual mid range, and from 2.6 to 5.2 kilohertz we have the high mid range, and from that to 2k hertz we have the high end frequencies. Okay, said this, we wanna look here. Before I tell you some of the tricks, actually I'm not telling you, actually I'm reading, but never mind. We want to talk about the Newton's third law about equalizing. Here the Newton's third law is applied to music, especially to the equalization part. For every equalizing action there is an equal and opposite equalizing reaction. For example, if you add too much to the read this before I say something stupid, eventually anything will sound thin and harsh. If you compensate by adding some 100 Hz to warm it up, you'll end up with scooped meats, and the sound will be thin and like body. So you add some 500, and suddenly you're back where you started. But it all sounds a bit processed and unnatural. So less is more. Also, Audio Freak said this in his key tutorial. He started by equalizing and by deleting some of the low frequencies, saying that if you take if you take some of the frequencies off at some point, you can also add them later if you need them. So what some producer actually do, and I actually did as well in the past, was just boosting the low frequencies. I'm not saying only this one, but for example also something like this, to say, oh, more bass, this is more hardstyle. Nope, 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 nope. A kick is not just formed by low frequencies. There are mid, high, and stuff like that. Okay, so let's now actually talk about what makes our kick. A kick is made up of two parts, and second part is divided in other two parts. We have the punch, which is this one, which is from DJ Manic's pack. And the tail. Actually, let me show the tail of the actual kick. Okay, and the tail is made up of a character and the bass or sub bass, the sub. The sub is the actual bass, which can be distorted or not, and the character is the real corpse of the kick, the very distorted part. So let's actually start looking what it did. I'm not gonna start back again with the kick. I'm just gonna show you the process, and I'm gonna show you how I made it and how Xenon made it. So before we start this, I want to say that I'm not gonna give out a FLP or a sample of this. You can actually rip the sound, but I guess it's not that good, because I want you to follow me while I explain this. Otherwise, I guess most of you would just take the FLP or the sample and just use their own. Okay, the first, a kick is also made up by layers. I have just 4 here. Which this one is the first. This one is just for the crunch, and this is the bass. Okay. Me and Xenon, actually Xenon has started with the Hydra, the Deep Kick A3 preset. Just set this to the oscillator number 8, and sorry, the waveform number 8, and the waveform number 27. Okay, you can play with the decay of the second oscillator. Actually, let me turn off the effects. This is how it sounds. And if you play with the decay, okay, fuck this. You see that the kick, the more you play with this and the higher this is, the longer the kick is, and the longer it takes for the kick to fade out. So we want this around here, let's say. Okay, yep, definitely. I've started by equalizing. I say but actually Xenon did the work for me, and I just copied, understanding what he made. With an equalizator, you can also use the parametric equalizer. Doesn't really matter. We have deleted some of the low frequencies, the very low frequencies, and the very high frequencies, playing around a bit with the mid frequencies. We made the notch around 500 Hz and boosted a bit the 1K, around 1K Hz, and a bit to, let's say, 2.5 kHz. Then we have added the distortion. Let's watch the manual, okay? This is our camera FUT and this is our manual. Okay, this is how the sound gets affected by the plugin. It passes through the bandpass filter, then goes into the distortion, then to the multi-mode filter and into the flanger, then into the EQ and into the compressor. We just want the multi-mode filter and the distortion, and we're gonna go in this section right away. Distortion. There are 4 different types and each has its own amount knob. The different types are not exclusive, so you can use varying amounts of all 4 at once. This means that you can use all of them together, you just don't have to use only one. The Mac and the Tube distortion types use the well-known, from Camera FUT 2. Tube provides a warm and musical analog stereo drive, while Mac is a bit nastier. Hint, it's great for booming kick drums. As you can see, we've used the Mac. Beat Crusher and XC are 2 new distortion types. Beat Crusher produces an extremely gritty, degraded digital sound. X8TA is a lot less destructive and introduces a bright harmonic distortion in the high frequencies, enhancing the presence of the sound. So pretty much, Beat Crusher, I don't really like the beat crushing distortion because we're here now. Hear this, I don't really like this sound. So we have added a Mac distortion with a bandpass filter FAT, and took the cutoff around 360 Hertz and took this, let's say, from here to was around here, yeah, and the rest all the way up. Now we're gonna check what those are. We have a bandpass FAT. Similar to bandpass, see above, a bandpass is just a bandpass filter. Like a simplified version of the band filter module, it allows a band of frequencies around the cutoff point to pass while rejecting other frequencies. Pretty much, let me show you what a bandpass filter does. So the bandpass is pretty much like this. Best explanation ever. But produces an edgier, more biting sound, especially if the resonance turned up, as you can see. Okay, now the chorus. What I found interesting about this chorus when Xenon used it is that it just made this. Okay, watch. And turn the volume from the maximum to a bit less than the half. He left everything like this, okay? So I'm not gonna talk about this because didn't understand why he did this. Then we have homicide. Alright, we have the gain, we have 4 different, it's a multi-band distortion. Okay, we have the band 1, the band 2, the band 3 and the band 4. In this case we have just used the band 1 and band 2. We used homicide to add some crunch to our kick. Before we start, I want to show you what it's like with homicide and without homicide, for fuck's sake. Okay, without homicide, oh fuck, okay. You hear it's not a huge difference, but it does the difference when you're completing the kick, okay? So we have chosen a porridge, which is the standard distortion, turned a bit down the gain and left everything as it was. We added another distortion, which is the beat crushing, and we turned a bit less the gain. Okay, then equalized again. I think this is, I didn't copy this. Here is where it starts to change from Xenon tutorial. Okay, let's hear with and without this equalizer. You hear the difference? We have boosted the mid frequencies a bit and deleted some of the low frequencies, which were messing with sound. Okay, because they were becoming actually distorted and ruining the sound. and then this doesn't really matter. I've just deleted some of the of the mid frequencies, and then added a reverb. Here he has changed the decay from 1.5 to 1.6 and the room size from 40 to 62 and set to less than a half. And then we have the fast distortion. I've actually never used this plugin before, but now that I've used it, I have to say it's freaking awesome. Okay, the Fruitive Fast Dist is a CPU-friendly distortion effect. It is the same distortion effect as okay. We have the preamp wheel, which allows you to amp up or down the signal before it is distorted. The middle position means 100% volume. You might need to increase the volume sometimes to this wheel to get distortion, as you can see. Threshold wheel. Select the frequencies band to be distorted. The more you turn this wheel to right, the wider the band is. We have this set to 0. The A-B switch select among two types of distortion. We leave this to A. Mix wheel allows you to mix the dry sound unprocessed with the distorted sound. Turn the wheel maximum to the right to hear only the distorted sound. We just hear the distorted sound and not the dry sound. Post gain wheel. If you distort the sound too much, it will become too loud. This wheel lets you reduce the volume after applying the distortion. Rotated maximum to the right gives 100% volume of the sound. We have left it like that, okay? I guess I've explained this enough. Actually, we've used this just to bounce a bit the sound, okay? Then what we did was to... Actually, this is a different version. We have recorded with Edison this, and it turned... Actually, let's stop Edison from recording. And this is the result. It's a bit different because we have messed around with the sounds, with the effect, sorry. Then what we did was to link this to another channel. This is mine. Didn't watch the tutorial, okay? So this is another effect to add more crunch. And this is from the 2. I've used the Rusty Beats distortion, which I really love real much. And let's talk about the Isotope Trash 2 plugin. It's a multi-band distortion plugin, which means you can distort every band. And before I say something wrong, let's go here, okay. We have different distortion types. We have distort, drive, full, diffuse, heavy, retro, and saturate. And when we go in retro and choose Rusty Beats, we have the pre. An input gain control. Use this to normalize your input levels, compensating for any previous modulus levels changes. So if you have changed a volume before, so let's say you have distorted the volume before the trash, you may want to adjust this to a bit less so it doesn't fucks everything up, okay? We have the drive for most distorting algorithms, okay? This controls the amounts of drive or distortion. So the more you turn this up, the more your sound gets distorted. We have the style. In this case, we don't have, as a matter of fact, it's said here. Some distortion. Provide an additional style control. Increasing the style slider for these algorithms will generate trash the sound more and provide an alternative variety of interaction with the chosen algorithm. The gain controls the gain of the distortion, and the mix, actually, that works the same as Camera I have the wave shaper. I'm not gonna use this in Isotope Trash 2. I've used from the M wave shaper, which is a free wave shaper from Meta Production, and here, and I've recorded it with Edison and put it here. And then what I did was to take this to the okay, we have added another counterfeit to the first sample, and added a bit of mech and tube without any filter applying to the actual sound. Then we have equalized this bit, deleting some frequencies that actually were ruining the sound a bit, and then recorded with Edison and added it here. So this is how it sounds altogether. You see it's a bit messy, so I have adjusted the volume a bit. Then we have added a bass part, which is actually this one. You just take the deep kick A3 and set the oscillator 1 to the first waveform, and the second oscillator is off, and just recorded it and put it here. And this, yeah, actually, sorry, that's my bad, sorry. Before I recorded this, I added some more effects to this one. I wave shaped this a bit, which you can think of wave shaper, and it's not actually a, yeah, it's actually a distortion plugin, because you can distort the wave. You actually shape the wave to the wave that you see here. You can also use the Fruity Wave Shaper. I've used this. So we took from here to 0% to minus 18 decibels, or a bit less. Then, okay, we're gonna boost a bit. And keep it like this. Then added again a chorus, same as before, the stock plugin, the stock preset, and then less volume, then reverb, same thing as before, and then again a fast disc to bounce a bit the sound. The pre is a bit less than before to change the sound a bit. Yeah. Then I've added a punch to the kick. I haven't equalized it or anything, just left it as it was, and took this together with, actually wait, then I recorded this in Edison and took this here. Now some of you may think, why the hell is Soundgoodizer on a fucking kick? I know that most of producers hate Soundgoodizers. I'm not saying I like it, because I've never used it in my tracks, but I think that a bit doesn't really fuck up the sound. Actually, you see how much it changes the sound. And you can it's powered by Maximus, so you can also use Maximus with a DA. I've just added a bit. What I found out, I'm not sure about this, so don't think it's correct. It boosts a bit of the low end frequencies and the high end frequencies, also compressing all the bands. Okay, never mind. And before anything, actually, I've set the kick to mono, because the kick has to be in mono. If you feel brave, as Audio Freak said, you can set the kick to 10% stereo, but the kick is usually mono. The difference between mono and stereo is that in mono it just comes equally through the two speakers. For example, if you have two speakers and you want the kick to come just from one speaker, let's say you want to pan the kick to the left speaker, you can't if it's mono. You have to set it to stereo, and then you have add effects like this. Okay, I guess that's it. Then I added a wave shaper and a phase distortion, then a chorus, and then again to mono because the chorus set it to stereo. Then a isotope trash. These are two different types of distortion. A clip distortion, a very soft clip distortion with 0.06, and a delicate harmonics to saturate the sound to 8.1, which 8.1 isn't really saturating, but never mind. Then equalized the sound, deleting some of the mid and low frequencies. And I also wanted to add a devastor to the kick, but the sound I was getting wasn't really cool. I mean, devastor really closes your sound if you use it the wrong way. Let me show you. Forgive me for the bad sound it's gonna give. Actually, you see, it just closes the sound. I don't know, you hear the difference between before and now, right? You may like this for another kind of kick, but personally it's not my taste. So I've recorded it with those effects, and this is what came out. Edited again, added a fast distortion and equalized the kick a bit, then equalized the gain, deleting some of the low frequencies, and actually the limiter doesn't really matter, didn't use it. Chorus again, and wave shaped again. Okay, then recorded it, and this is what came, what we got. Then set it again to mono, and I don't know if I should show you this because then I have added a, which is from Silent One. It's just a sine wave lowered of 2 octaves. This is how it sounds. Oop. Okay, I've adjusted a bit the volume so it fits better with the kick. Okay, saved it and exported to this one. Okay, we have equalized it, removed some of the mid frequencies and some of the high end frequencies, distorted it again, actually saturated with the delicate harmonics, and again with the delicate harmonics you could just do 8 around something 8. Okay, then wave shaped it a bit, then recorded it, and this is the final kick. Final, it's not really a final result, but you can hear it doesn't sound that bad. It's not that bad for a beginning of a hardstyle kick. Okay, that was pretty much it. I hope this tutorial was helpful for you, and if I said something wrong, don't hate, because I'm still learning, you know. What I know, I want to share it with you guys, because really, when I saw tutorials on YouTube, it was like me to understand what the person was doing. I'm not saying everyone did this. Actually, Audio Freak, Headhunters, Frontliner, those are most famous hardstyle DJs out there. Actually, Headhunter is not a hardstyle DJ anymore, but doesn't really matter. And for example, that day's tutorial, which was a very great tutorial, wasn't a real tutorial because it was just showing the process to make a hardstyle kick, not explaining how things work. And I'm not saying I showed how things work, I just tried to make you understand a bit better how you can achieve a kind of sound, okay? So if you guys enjoyed this video, or you have any questions or anything really, just PM me or leave a comment below and share this video if it helped you, okay? Thanks for watching, bye bye.